my question is to Professor Krauss. The last time that your good friend Richard Dawkins was on Q&A, he was asked rather mockingly how we can possibly get something from nothing. Being a biologist and not a physicist, Richard respectfully declined to give a comprehensive answer. He mentioned that people often found it hard to deal with the fact that there was nothing before the Big Bang. Yet when you ask the same people what came before God, they often say nothing, or that he had always existed. Now that we have you here, could you please give us a more detailed explanation as to how the universe can in fact arise from nothing?
Okay, in a minute. What is amazing, it is an amazing fact, and I watched Richard when he was here, actually trying to explain evolution to Cardinal Pell, who couldn't understand it. But the amazing thing is that one of the things we've learned from science is that our common sense does not necessarily apply to the universe. We evolved to avoid tigers on the plains of Africa, but not to understand quantum mechanics. And so the way the universe really works is very often, as I say, defines common sense. And what is truly remarkable, and the reason I've been talking about it, writing about it lately, is that we understand that in fact, empty space, which for many people is a good first example of nothing, is actually unstable. Quantum mechanics will allow particles to suddenly pop out of nothing, and it doesn't violate any laws of physics. Just the known laws of quantum mechanics and relativity can produce 400 billion galaxies, each containing 100 billion stars. And then beyond that, it turns out when you apply quantum mechanics to gravity, space itself can arise from nothing, as can time. It seems impossible, but it's completely possible. And what is amazing to me is if you asked what would be the characteristics of a universe that came from nothing by laws of physics, it'd be precisely the characteristics of the universe we measure. And in fact, one of your Australians measured a key part of it and won a Nobel Prize. He's been on this program, my friend Brian Schmidt. And that was completely unexpected. It is amazing that our universe looks exactly like a universe that could have come from nothing. Does that prove it? No. But it makes it plausible. And that is amazing. Just like, in fact, before Darwin, evolution was a miracle, or life was a miracle. Every life form was specially created. Darwin didn't know about DNA and genetics, but when he showed that looking at the evidence, it was plausible that all of the diversity of life could come from a simple beginning. And I find those things worth celebrating, independent of whether they relate to God or not. The universe is unbelievably amazing.
Just before we've got a question on that. I'll just quickly bring in Harold Jansen before I bring in the other panelists.
So, if you're claiming that the universe came from nothing, and nothing isn't really nothing, where did the nothing come from?
No, well, look, you know, the interesting thing is science.
Where did the laws of physics come from?
I didn't say it's not nothing. I actually think the point is science changes what we mean by words. So I've discussed with philosophers, and they say, you know what, we don't like your definition of nothing because it's not what Aristotle described. Well, the point is science changes the meaning of things. It's called learning, and you might have said that nothing was an infinite empty void, like the Bible would have said. Well, that would be empty space. Okay, we've learned that that kind of nothing is much more complicated than you thought. There's nothing in it. There's no real particles, but it actually has properties. But then the point is that you can go much further and say there's no space, no time, no universe, and not even any fundamental laws. And it could all spontaneously arise. And it seems to me, if you have no laws, no space, no time, no particles, no radiation, it's a pretty good approximation to nothing.
But